Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of the TV is Our Real Mom podcast. I'm Dave.
I'm Catie.
And we are here to discuss the finale of the Winners at War season. All winners season of Survivor. And
it feels like over. Just yesterday we were dreaming about who would be on it, and now it's just over.
Right, yeah. And of all possibilities, I mean, Tony wins again.
Oh no, your mic's doing it. Really? Yeah. Sorry. I thought I should tell you right away. So did I.
Okay.
But yeah, not to take away from the exuberance of watching Tony Vlachos win the all-winners season. I don't know what planet we were living on last night where that became a reality, but he did it. He did it. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, we could probably just keep saying that over and over for the podcast, but he deserved it too. Like, he's the GOAT. He's officially on the Mount Rushmore. I've even seen a picture of it, an artist's rendering of it. He's officially on there, and I don't know how he wouldn't be. But yeah, when I was thinking about this like a year ago and we heard it was finally happening, I mean, it was like, yeah, Tony will be there because he's Tony, but, you know, if we get him for a couple episodes, that'll be all right. But we got him for all the episodes.
Do I sound okay now?
Yeah, you sound fine now.
Okay. Yeah, this is going to be a rough one again. I had it fixed. It was working for a long time, so
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I thought I had it. Thought I had it figured out.
Me too.
Oh, well. Well, we'll just get through this quick then.
Yeah, let's just get through the last episode of Survivor we may get for like a year.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and it's like, you know, you finally get Tony winning a second time. Something you never thought would happen. It was like most Survivor hardcore fans, it's like their wildest dream, right? Tony winning again. And it's like, you think if something like that would happen, right? It's a miracle. It's like a freaking miracle for that to happen. And you imagine like you would want to go like skydiving naked, holding, sparklers in your hands. That's like the only way to celebrate. A Tony win. But then it actually happens, and you're not really sure what to do with it. You're like, oh, that actually happened. Holy shit.
Yeah, I can't. Well, but people keep saying it's a miracle, and the more I thought about it, the more I was like, maybe he's just that good, and we completely underestimated him.
Yeah, I made sure to write that down. I'm glad you brought it up because I had that same exact thought, and it is interesting to think about. Like, was it a miracle, or is Tony? Is there actually really agency in Survivor? And I think time and time it's been proven that, you know, of course, it's a lot of luck, but there is a certain element of agency in Survivor, and Tony certainly proved it by winning again. Yeah, because the only reason it is a miracle that he won is just by virtue and nature of the game. The game part of the game is that, and that's how the game has evolved, right? When you're such a big threat, you know, that's what makes it so hard for him to win because he's such a big name, and that's what makes it a miracle. But by his skill level alone, it shouldn't be considered a miracle, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Like, what's so impressive to me about the whole thing is that he won his first game, and the second season he amped that style up to, maximum, and it didn't work out for him. But this time he completely changed the way he played the game. Like, if you can do that, like, you can't change the core of who you are as a person. They say it all the time. Like, eventually the real person is going to come out. And eventually, most of the real Tony came out. But even at the end, like, him defecting to Sarah and Ben's stupid decision to put all the votes on Natalie just showed that he completely changed his play style, and he still won. Like, that's how good he is. I've seen it in Big Brother, where Dan Giesling played a second time and completely changed the way he played. But he didn't win. He still didn't win because they wouldn't vote for him. So, I mean, Tony's the GOAT of all reality TV competition shows, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about it in my mind. Tony's the greatest Survivor player of all time. And
I don't
but
know how
kind
you
of
can argue against that.
well, you could look at Game Changers and say that was such a colossal failure, but I think that was inevitable, like coming off his Kagayan when everybody knew that's exactly what was going to happen. He was going to be the number one target. He had no chance. And to make matters worse, he flew off the handle and went crazy right off the bat, right? But what's
Is he
interesting, though, that's he
so
learned
go
from
ahead.
that. Well, he learned
Yeah.
from that, right? Yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Well, I was gonna say, is he so next level that he did that on purpose, and so his target level would go down? Oh, your mic's doing it again. Okay, mine. But obviously that's said tongue in cheek that he did that on purpose, but he certainly learned from that experience. And without that Game Changers failure, second person voted out in that season, I don't think you would have this subdued Tony that was there for the first, 25 days of the game. Like up until the merge, game wise, he was mellow Tony. There was an interview with him with Dalton Ross where he talked about, he even used like his body language and stuff to appear less threatening. Like he wouldn't cross his arms. He would crouch on the ground so that he wasn't ever looking down on someone when they were talking to him. Like this man had it all thought out. Like if you thought for any second that, that his win was a fluke or that he didn't do everything possible to win, like he thought about it more than they even showed. Like he deserves it. We'll get into the Natalie thing, but yeah. Oh, I can't hear you at all now. That is complete silence. I hear nothing, and I'm sure our audience hears nothing as well. Dang it, we had the mic situation figured out for the rest of the season up until just now. Oh well. I have a lot to say about Natalie. Right now I'm just talking to myself. And I would like to wait until I have a sounding board here. I'm going to wait on that because I still want to bask in the joy of a Tony win, because that's the main takeaway from what happened last night, is that Tony won. You could say it was inevitable going into it that Tony was going to win, but there were some moments last night where it looked like it couldn't happen. But thank God it did. Tony, Tony, Tony.
Check 1, 2.
No, I hear nothing.
Check 1, 2.
No sound whatsoever coming from your microphone or anything. Fun fact,
Can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay.
What happened to our live stream?
It's still going.
Okay.
I mean, we still got 4 people watching. What a bunch of troopers.
What?
Speaking of that,
That's more than I ever thought.
we have a
Sorry.
couple of comments in the chat.
Sure.
Cullen says, "Nice to catch the podcast live. Good to have you live, Cullen." Also
sorry about the difficulties.
Yeah, sorry about that. Also says, "Good season, thumbs up emoji." Yep, great season. Brought down to, we'll get into it, but brought down to me by Natalie in The Edge of Extinction.
Yeah.
Borderline ruined the season. The only thing that saved it was Tony winning.
If Tony, yeah.
Thanks for liking.
GB
says, thanks for liking my tweet last night.
Yeah, he remembered that we weren't going to be on. I can't stay up till 11 o'clock podcasting. Who am I? Those West Coasters, it's like 8 o'clock for them when it's over. They got all night, but over here, that's not the case.
And also, GB says, we can't hear anything. Yes, we can hear you now. Okay.
Now we got it figured out. Sorry, everyone.
Well, I don't know. My mic could go out again, but at least
if your mic does it again, just drop the mic thing, right? Isn't that what we decided?
Drop the mic. Oh, yeah.
Just use your.
That was part of the fix, though, was that I switched it to my webcam, or I disabled my webcam, and that's what fixed it before. So if I enable it again, well, I guess I could enable it if whatever. Let's just move on to Survivor Talk while it's working.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't remember where we were, but I am glad you brought up the miracle thing. We talked about that. So we were farther than that. I'm lost.
Well,
Now
I
I'm
was saying
rambling.
that Cops Are Us, 3 out of 3 times a member of Cops Are Us plays. Or they both play. If they're on a season together, one of them will win. They're 3 for 3.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, your mic's already doing it again.
Okay.
Do we just power through?
Well, I'll have to hang up Skype again. So yeah, we just power through.
Okay. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
This right here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so you don't get my rich baritone coming through a beautiful mic, but...
Sorry.
Or a shit mic is what it is. It's a piece
Yeah.
of shit. It's not even the mic, though. That's the problem. It's Windows.
Yeah.
It's
If it was the
Windows.
mic, you could figure it out, yeah.
Yeah, it's frickin' Windows. That's the problem.
Okay. Maybe you switch to Apple after this.
Yeah, I think I'm officially switching to Macintosh. Anyways, where were we?
Oh yeah, Cops 3 for 3.
Yeah, so talk to me about Cops Are Us. I was like really surprised by how strong their relationship was. I didn't realize, like, I couldn't see Tony being that, like, Tony, there was such a different side of Tony. Like, you never saw this side of Tony. You really didn't, other than maybe like in Kageon, like with his family or something.
Yeah.
You know, like
He didn't have his family come out in Catie.
oh, okay, yeah. So when did he ever show this kind of emotion? And
I think he was upset at the family visit that his wife couldn't come. He showed a little emotion there. I mean, he showed emotion in other ways by lashing out at people, but
Right.
that's not the same kind of emotion.
But yeah, this was so different. Like, I just never expected in a million years he would like have such a deep bond with Sarah Lucina, and vice versa. Like, I didn't realize they had gotten so tight, and there was no hiding it at the end, and it was a powerful moment, you know?
That was probably the most epic fire making. I mean, when Chris decided to do it himself, that was epic too in a different way. But there was that moment where Sarah Lucina's rope started to burn. I was like, oh. Like, I almost walked away. I have a tradition of walking away from fire-making challenges because I hate them. With the exception of last season because I didn't care. Who cared about season 39, right? I was able to power through. This one, though, even at that moment, I covered my eyes. But when I saw her, like, smother the flame, I was just... I couldn't believe he was still in it. But the ending to that fire-making challenge, it was like this whole full circle prophecy fulfilled moment. Like, Cops R Us was never fulfilled. Like, not the first time around he got her out. The first time Sarah Lucina goes home because of Tony, he applauds because she gets voted out. This time, he's like weeping because he took her out at the end. Like, it's just such a... I mean, you can't even write that. That's probably the best partnership, multi-season partnership we've ever seen.
Yeah, and Natalie was thinking about, making Michelle do the fire. So we were almost...
She should have done it her own self. She should have done it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, if she did it, would they just be like, yeah, Chris Underwood already did it, so sorry, it's already been done? Because wouldn't it be super lame if she did the same thing Chris Underwood did and Natalie won again? Yeah. I just think that's why the Edge is flawed. We kept saying it over and over again during the episode because we were so nervous Natalie was going to ruin this whole thing. And that's what sucks is, like, Natalie is such an awesome player and fun character, but you can't even root for her at this point because the Edge sucks. I'm more out on it than I ever was after this.
Right, like, so I had a tainted view of what the Edge is capable of after season 38 because I hated Rick Devens, and it was so satisfying to watch Chris Underwood take him out in the fashion that he did. Yeah, his win, he played 13 days, whatever. But his opposition was Gavin, no disrespect, and Julie, but they just weren't flashy, exciting players, and this was someone flashy and exciting who most jurors had a bond with that they could vote for. So that warped my perception of having an Edge winner. And perhaps if someone like Yule had come back, I don't know if I'd feel differently. But Natalie, first one voted out, had most time on the edge of extinction to gather trinkets and gather advantages without having to worry about the actual game, because the Edge of Extinction is not the game. It is not Survivor. You're not playing the game. You're playing something else. I don't even care what you're playing. It's dumb. And she came back and had a total of 6 days, and somehow 4 people found it necessary to vote for her. I cannot even... And they're like 4 of my favorite people, and I was so disappointed in them last night. I was so excited about Tony winning last night, but I was more mad. Not more. I might have been equally as mad at what almost happened. And then reading the exit interviews today, and Natalie saying she deserved like 4 more votes, thinking that she was at least tied with Tony, and she should have gotten Danny's vote because I don't even know why. And how she shared peanut butter with Sophie and Kim, so they should have voted for her. I'm like, what do you think is happening here, Natalie? Like, you got 4 votes too many, and you should be happy with that. You played 6 days, and you were up against 2 people who played 39 days, and both way better than you did, and you think you should have won? Like, the fact that can even be a thought process of a winner of Survivor, that she can think she should have won that, the Edge has to go. It can never come back. It is trash. It has warped winners' minds. At least 5 winners' minds it completely warped. And I had respect for it. And I'm just like dumbfounded and disgusted by it. And it almost, if it had been a more likable person at the end, and that person had done a couple more flashy things, Tony might not have won. And that's just complete trash. And I can't.
Yeah, GB says, I was confused when Tyson and Parvati voted for her.
Yeah, so apparently Tyson and Natalie have a pre-game long-standing relationship where she stayed with him and his wife when she was recovering from some concussion in Utah. So she knew Tyson super well. Mm-hmm. And Parvati and her just got really close out there. And I guess same with Ethan. Ethan, I expected more out of you.
Yeah, I mean that's all you can really chalk it up to is that, they based their vote more on who they wanted to win as a friend. I mean, they were looking at it outside the context of the game. They wanted to give $2 million to somebody that they liked, and it's unfortunate because like I thought those people had more respect for the game than to just vote based on those circumstances. Granted, you can, or those criteria, I guess. Granted, you can. Sorry, lost my train of thought.
So, and Jeremy, I understood why Jeremy voted for Natalie. She's like one of his closest friends, I guess. So I guess he had to. But even he went on Twitter today and he was like, yeah, Michelle deserved better. I should have voted for her. And Natalie is the godmother of one of his children. So what does that tell you?
Yeah. I mean, have some respect for the game. You don't vote for the person who is your friend,
Yeah.
Unless they played a good game, but I mean that's not the.
She did play a good game. She was eligible for one vote. She was not. She was vulnerable at one vote this whole game, and she got voted out at that vote. How are you going to give that person even a vote for $2 million?
I know
it blows my mind.
Yeah, she didn't deserve any. It should have been a unanimous Tony win, or
Michelle should have gotten.
Yeah, I think you could argue Michelle should have gotten a vote or two.
Yeah.
Because something, there is, everyone's saying Tony played the perfect game. Well, not necessarily. Like, there's one critique you can make is that he did have to rely on a couple immunity challenge wins. Like, he almost won 5. Mm-hmm. And he had to rely on the fire making challenge too. So, I mean, you think about somebody like Brad Culpepper or Mike Holloway or... you get mad about like Ben winning because of the fire making challenge.
Ben's was a scavenger hunt. At least the others were actual challenge wins.
Right. So, yeah, and challenges have always been winning immunity by being the best at the challenge has always been a part of the game. So that's what makes it a little more pure. But at the same time, if you placed more value on the strategic social game, Michelle is almost played a better game in that sense because people weren't really targeting her at all. She never had to. She did win at what, 2?
She was targeted, and when she was targeted, she won.
Right. So she needed to win. She needed to win too. Mm-hmm. Tony needed to win too. That's the only critique you could make. He had to win 4 times to get through.
I don't think he had to win those first couple. I don't think
that's a good point. There was only 1 or 2 where he needed it. Yeah.
The final 5, they could have taken him out for sure, and they probably would have.
Yeah, and Michelle was in the same boat, so yeah. But I guess if you're gonna make a critique of Tony's game, that would be it. Like, he was a target. But once again, that's always been part of the game, so that's a pure part of the game. Win challenges when you need it. Outplay, right? That's part of the game.
And the part that was so, like, when they were at the final tribal council, and they were like, what was your biggest misstep? And Natalie was basically describing the 2 days before she got voted out, and then how she got voted out. And I was like, how are these people not laughing at her right now?
I know, it's laughable.
This is so embarrassing. My misstep was that I didn't make good relationships and I got voted out on day 2. And then you hear about Edge of Extinction and how she didn't have great relationships out there either, except with the few people who voted for her and maybe a couple others. But apparently on Edge of Extinction, she got in a fight with Yule.
Oh my God.
Fight with Yule.
Yeah, I know, like, nicest guy in the world.
She got mad at Yule because he was taking too long when Adam got voted out to take him up to the top of the hill and show him where the rice was, and she said he was being selfish by taking so long with the rice. She also stole peanut butter and hid peanut butter. I mean, there were other people in on this with her, it wasn't just her, but I don't know why she has this idea in her head that people should vote for her at all, let alone more people who voted for her. Like, I hate that the Edge even puts this in people's brains that you can deserve to win if you get voted out. Like, I think all the other Edge people, if you watch the Ponderosas with them, were so happy to not be a part of that or have to worry about that. Like,
right.
It's just gross. I hate it so much.
Yeah. That was my other defense of the people who voted for Natalie was those are the rules that Survivor handed them. They're like, the Edge is part of the game. someone can come back from the edge and win. You could vote for them. So they just did what was told was okay that they could do. So so it's hard to blame them in that sense too. But you just hope that they're smarter than that and see the edge for how terrible it is. It's awful. Yeah. It's freaking terrible. Yeah.
And Natalie also claims that if it was Sarah, Michelle, and Natalie in the final 2, she would have won hands down against Sarah.
I think Sarah would have won.
I would certainly hope Sarah would have won.
But once again, that's why I said it like 15 times last night. I've never felt more emphatic about it, that the edge is flawed, and that's why, because Natalie very well could have beat Sarah, and she has absolutely no reason to, because that's the biggest flaw, is that they get to sit with. It's been said a million times, but it's worth saying again. They get to sit with the jury and just make friends with them while everyone else plays the game, then walk back in and say, hey guys, remember we're friends?
And then
vote for me.
And then they get to say to the people in the game what the hell the jury's been talking about and thinking about, and that's also messed up. Like, to me, this whole season has proven to me that the edge is something that came up in some brainstorming session, and it should have gone in the trash. And somehow it came out of the trash and made it onto not only the show, but the biggest season the show has ever done. And if they hadn't had the Edge of Extinction, this season would be a lot higher on people's lists, but it completely tainted it and almost completely destroyed it. Yeah. And it's just such a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there are tweaks you could make to it to make it workable, but in its format, in its current format, I completely agree that it almost completely ruined a top 10 season. You know,
Tony Vlachos' second time winning season could have been completely destroyed by this trash idea. That
it was like that close, man. I mean, 4 out of 16 votes is like 25%, and it's not nothing.
It's not nothing. It's horrendous. The more her name kept coming up, I was just horrified. I was like, what if?
I was scared. I was legit scared. I was ready to be like, that's it, Survivor is dead to me.
Yeah, don't come back. Like, stay gone. We don't need you. Same. Like, they're lucky that most of the jury had their head on straight.
And we'll get to that at the end of the podcast, where Survivor stands with us and what the future might hold with Survivor. But should we go through some notes and hit some highlights?
Sure, we can go through notes.
What'd you think of Jeff Probst's garage setup?
I mean, it looked pretty good for a garage. He's got a big garage. Good for him.
Yeah. It's just weird, though, right? Just eerie.
It just all felt so weird.
Yeah.
Like, to hear every time a person gets a vote, normally someone claps, and to just have it be so silent was so weird.
Yeah, and like the 3 finalists with their families on Skype or Zoom or whatever.
I was like trying to clap to like fill the silence, but that made it worse because it's just me.
That's funny that you did that.
I tried. Well, Tony was getting votes, so I was excited.
So can you explain to me the advantages that were available for the return challenge, the Edge challenge?
I don't remember. There were 3 of them. That's the other thing. Natalie almost lost, and she had 2 more advantages than most. 2 or 3 more advantages than everybody else. Yeah. And it was not a runaway. Like, it was not a great performance.
No, she wasn't even the first to I don't think she was the first to get to the ball maze thing.
No, she wasn't. I think it was Wendell.
And what's funny is, like, I didn't realize the ball maze was the end. So when the ball landed, I was like, oh, that's it? Oh, shit. Damn it.
Yeah, she's in.
And I think
as soon as she got in, I was like, oh.
I mean, it looked like Wendell was the closest other one. And there's pretty much nobody there that, like you said, maybe Ethan, or no, you said Yule. But
Yule would have been my choice, but like Ethan would have won probably if he'd gotten back in, but
yeah, see that one I'm almost okay with I'm almost okay with an Ethan win, but even him of all people, it's like I don't know if I could swallow that. Yeah. Especially with Tony,
considering the level of play that Tony exhibited. Like, nobody cast a vote against him all season, and he's Tony. Like, I don't know how that happened. Oh, my power just went out.
Oh, good thing you're on the Your laptop's on.
The reserve power.
Yeah,
Sorry for
nice.
the darkness, everyone. But
Oh, that's okay.
Here I
That's
am.
that's interesting. Yeah, we've always said, and everybody says, the name of the game with Survivor is adaptability, and Tony showed that he can be super adaptable, and that's
Right.
why he really deserves the win.
Yeah.
I think we got a couple more comments here. If Natalie would have won, this is from Cullen. If Natalie would have won, I would have been enraged. LOL.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
enraged, and she didn't win. I was enraged that she got 4 votes.
I'm right there with you, Catie. I'm still mad about it, even though it didn't. I'm mad she got 4 votes. I'm
Me
mad
too.
at Jeremy, Tyson, Parvati, and who else? I forgot.
Ethan, Jeremy,
I'm mad at
Tyson,
all of them. People that we really like. They all voted for Natalie. Sickening. Cullen also says, I didn't like how she interrupted Tony at Final Tribal and called him a liar, basically. Yeah, she did that.
But that's the other thing. Like, Jeremy got so mad. He's like, but you voted me out. And it's like, he saved you like 3 times, Jeremy. He couldn't have done it anymore. Like, he had to eventually cut you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he saved Jeremy multiple times, and Jeremy didn't do it himself.
Yeah.
So I don't know what right he had to be bitter. And
Yeah.
Tony was right to say, I was still friends with him. Like, that wasn't nothing.
Yeah, I think Jeremy's got to be a little bit embarrassed going back and watching this season.
Yeah, I think that's probably why he tweeted those things yesterday.
What did he? Oh, he tweeted like, I'm dumb. I'm an idiot.
No, he just congratulated Tony and said he felt bad about Michelle not getting votes and all that stuff.
Trying to do a little damage control, like PR,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
GB says, not gonna lie, this season was kind of underwhelming for me. This season is 13th. Not even in my top 10. I have to agree to an extent. I think just the spectacle of the all winners is enough to put it in the top 10 for me. Just the personalities here. The fact Tony winning a second time brings it up a lot. But yeah, the whole Edge of Extinction Natalie thing actually puts a dent in it again. So yeah, it'd be interesting. I haven't done an official ranking of my own, so I don't know. But I don't know if it would have hit my top 10. What do you think, Catie?
Edge of Extinction weighs it down. Like you said, I think the spectacle, I've never been so excited for a group of people. And that might put it in my top 10. But I really miss, I don't want to sound one of those like old timers, like back in my day, but I really miss the way Survivor used to be. And it would have been really cool to see these people play that way. But that's just not what we're ever going to get, apparently. But if you watch the Ponderosa, where the Edge of Extinction gang finally goes and they relax and have fun, like just seeing those people hang out is... It's not like anything you'll ever see.
It's gotta be a trip.
So, yeah, it elevates it for sure. They all seem so happy and just having fun together, and it's fun to watch.
Well, yeah, I mean, just there must be just so much pride there as a group. Like they just feel like an elite class. The show Survivor started in America, and so American Survivor is like the Survivor. Even the up and coming survivors in other countries might become better than our Survivor, but American Survivor is the original. So these guys are the OGs of one of the greatest games ever conceived. They're the best of the best, pretty much, and they get to hang out together. And yeah, I can't imagine how good it must feel to be a part of that group.
Yeah, I was very jealous watching them hang out together.
Yeah, we don't belong there, so I'm not jealous.
No, we can watch. We have no
you're like
business
jealous
being
of
there,
the
but...
cameraman, like wishing you could be watching them.
I just wish I could go, but I wouldn't want to hang out with them because I'd be mortified. But they're all such fun people.
Yeah, that's really cool. Another comment from GB. Thanks for keeping it fresh, GB. Are y'all excited to see 16-year-olds in season 41, which apparently filmed in the Virgin Islands because of the coronavirus?
I read a couple things about the 16-year-old comment, and I think what he was saying is that you can start applying when you're 16 so that they just have an ever-widening pool of people, so that when you do turn 18, you can you can play, because I don't think, liability speaking or mentally, you can have a 16-year-old. Not that they're not smart enough, just like what it does to you. I don't think.
Yeah, it's not good for developing brains, man.
Right.
No, that's what I took it to mean as well. I'm like super fascinated that that's where people's minds go. Like, they're like, oh, they're gonna like actually have 16-year-olds on. Like, no, it's not literal. He means like you'll be on in a couple of years. That's what I thought right away too.
Like,
but like, and when I say fascinated, I don't mean that insulting at all. I mean, like, it's awesome how people's minds work so differently. Like, some people perceived it that way, but no, that's not what they. That's
Everyone
not what he
perceived it that way. It seemed like.
I was
you were
like,
on Twitter.
That's not what I thought. But I did love. I was listening to Rob and Steven last night, and I loved their. I don't know if this was their idea or where this came from, but they were talking about this, like, they're just going to film it in America. Yeah, they're going to do like Wild West, film it in America in a Wild West setting, and you don't have to leave the country. You can do it in a safe way. If everybody's tested for coronavirus before they begin filming, and they don't ever come into contact with anybody who might have coronavirus, and, you know, as long as they're responsible about the way they conduct that. And obviously already the rules about what's allowed in this whole business is the rules are becoming more relaxed, right? Like, I think I heard Minnesota governor is letting the shelter in place thing ease up.
It's vague.
It's vague, but basically he's letting retail stores open up again, right? That sort of thing.
Yeah, at their own discretion.
Right. So if that stuff is already happening.
Well, I'm saying if there's another spike, everything will shut down again. And we're still spiking, so I'm not sure why he's doing this. But anyway, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an option. I know one thing they would not be happy about is they have such good relationships with local people in Fiji that work on the show, but they, you know, if they lose it for a season, it doesn't mean they wouldn't go back to it when they were able to. So. Yeah.
GB says, I'd love to see a dry season of Survivor. It's been years. I'm guessing by dry, is that like Africa? Like Survivor Africa? Like inland?
Tocantins?
Oh, Tocantins was too. I just, I seem to remember Tyson being by the ocean when he did his underwear dance or whatever.
No.
That wasn't the ocean?
He was in, like, the Brazilian highlands. That's where they were. There was no ocean. There was, like, wet spots, but...
So I'm imagining, like, the wet spot behind him probably as the ocean, but it's not.
He was surrounded by dirt, but yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. It's a GIF that you see it a lot.
I remember watching that episode, because how could you forget that moment, right?
Who is this person?
That solidified Tyson for sure. Like, but yeah, like... here's the thing, and I was going to say it for the end, like, I might be taking a break from Survivor. I know it's weird to say that, but if they did... Okay, so your power is working then?
Some of it is.
Your light bulb.
Not.
Your light bulb probably.
The light bulb
went out. Check your battery on your laptop. Does it say it's charging?
Yeah, it's charging. That's why I turned the
light on. Then you have power, yeah. Anyways... If they did something really new, like Survivor in colonial times or Survivor Wild West, I might actually tune in for that. But the same old tried and true formula, I'm getting bored with it. I am.
Yeah, we were talking about this a little bit last night. Like, I will never stop watching Survivor. I haven't been able to stop watching Big Brother, so there's no way I'm ever gonna stop watching Survivor. Like, if it's on, I'm gonna watch it. But I reserve the right to bitch about it, and that includes the Edge of Extinction thing. Like, I don't see how they have this downtime. Well, I don't know if they are gonna have downtime, but if they do end up having downtime, how they don't take that to just, you know, take in that feedback and look at the train wreck that almost happened. I mean, we shouldn't say it almost happened, but it could have happened that Natalie could have won.
I think it was closer than we care to imagine.
Yeah, well, Michelle said in her exit press, and as Stephen Fishback says, exit press is not canon.
Yeah.
But
Stephen has so many good lines like that, saying.
But Michelle said that Nick, Adam, Wendell, and Danny, maybe? Someone else, they were considering voting for her, but they were concerned that Natalie might win, and they didn't want that to happen just to give Michelle second place. So they made sure to vote for Tony because they weren't going to allow the right person to not win. So,
right,
and it's interesting. I thought the old school block would vote together, but Ethan and Parvati and Tyson just kind of did their own thing, I guess.
Right, I had that thought too, that maybe the people that wanted to vote for Natalie as a friend maybe knew for like a solid fact that Tony had it in the bag, so let's just throw Natalie a couple votes because she's our friend, sort of thing.
Four people had to throw Natalie a vote. It's just
that makes things a little murky because if Michelle catches a couple votes, then Tony's starting to get iffy, you know.
Yeah.
But with 16 jurors, maybe not so much.
But yeah, you think that's the other problem with the Edge. I mean, the problems with Edge are legion. But another problem with the Edge is that you have people on the jury who never meet people in the final three. Ethan never met Tony. Parvati, I don't think, met Tony. Like, why would they vote for someone they never met? So, and the Edge should stop at a certain point also. Like, and maybe the first people that pre-merge Edgers go to the pre-jury trip then if they don't make it back in the game. And then you get rid of the Edge, and then the jury is the normal-sized jury. Like, the jury was massive and stupid and ridiculous. I could go on and on. There's so many problems with Edge.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. That could be the best point about why the Edge of Extinction is stupid, because the way the game was conceived is the jury starts after the merge, right? And the reason for that is exactly like you said. The jury has to have had some kind of contact with the people they're going to vote for, so they have some kind of sense of how they play the game and who they are. And that might be, if not the best argument, it's a top argument for why the Edge is flawed.
Yeah, 3 of the 4 votes she got were like pre-jury people. And Jeremy, who his kid is, she's his godmother. So like, of course he's gonna vote for her. Like, but that's 4 votes too many. It's not. I would have been okay with Jeremy, and I guess Tyson, since they're such good friends, like throwing a vote to her, 2 votes. But even that would have been like.
By nature of the beast, you can't avoid pre-existing relationships in a season like this, but in a perfect world you wouldn't even have those. I mean, can you imagine this season of All Winners if none of these people knew each other at all outside of the game? I mean, that would be amazing. And which makes me wonder about like Survivor All-Stars in Australia, like, but I guarantee all those people, they're only like within 3 seasons of each other, like, or 3 seasons of people. I guarantee they all had relationships too. So
yeah,
I don't know if we'll ever get that. It's like I said, nature of the beast. So GB brings up Danny votes for Tony 2, who she had never been on a tribe with.
Yeah, because Natalie was apparently an asshole to her, and apparently she was an asshole to a lot of people. So I don't know how she even got 4 votes. Like, I'm so blown away by this.
So her social game sucks in the game and on the Edge of Extinction as well.
And on the Edge of Extinction, and yet she got 2nd place in an all-winner season.
Disgusting. First person voted out too. I mean, it's just the first person voted out should not be allowed to get 4 votes, and I just can't say it enough. And it really does bring the season down, because it's like, this should be all about Tony being a unicorn. Yeah. That's all it should be about. But
and there's this edge to it that, like, I'm annoyed by this. Oh, I didn't even mean that. But
yeah, I thought you meant to do that.
I did not mean to do that. Excuse me.
Did you like Natalie's move, though, when she comes back and she's like, Tony, everybody wants Tony to win?
No, I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, exactly. It's a no-brainer. And anybody could have thought to do that. Anybody probably would have done that. She did it quite boldly and without a shame.
That's how she is.
Yeah.
She has no filter, and
Tony
had the audacity to yell at Yule. So
Tony handled it so well. He was his demeanor in the finale and last part of the game, very stoic. which is strange. Up until the moments where he felt, strong emotions. Other than that, though, he was very, just stone-faced.
Except at the final tribal council where he had the jury just rolling.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing that made this finale amazing was watching Tony have the jury in the palm of his hand. They're all laughing with him.
Tony.
Yeah, like he's just telling stories, and it's beautiful.
It was a beautiful thing.
And yeah, we talked about, you mentioned how they wouldn't listen to Tony, right? He had this idea. Read. Yeah, he's like, let's get Denise because Natalie has an idol. And they could have just avoided the whole problem, but they didn't listen to him.
But again, Tony didn't force his will. He had to burn an idol. And an interesting stat I saw today is that Tony has never played an idol correctly. I mean, he wields them as power. That's more what he uses his idols for, as a threat. But not once has he actually played it correctly.
Right. And I had forgotten this, too, that during that whole thing, the edit made Sarah look really, arrogant and stuff. She was like, Tony's an idiot. Natalie doesn't have an idol. He should just listen to me. It was like 2 minutes super cut of Sarah being like, Tony's dumb, he's wrong, I'm right, I'm great, I'm awesome.
She also said, I'm gonna beat Tony at fire. I'm like, wow, they're really just piling on Sarah. I feel like I know how this is gonna go, but I still get worried. But
I was worried.
That whole thing blew me away. The last season they saw, days before going out there, was Edge of Extinction. Underwood comes back. He has an idol. Why could you possibly think the person coming back couldn't possibly have something? Especially with the fire token thing, where they probably could have bought one. How they were so adamant she didn't have one was beyond me.
Yeah, I mean, she just saw that. How could
Tony was the only one who was like, hello.
He remembered it and used it like you should. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you noticed this. This was funny to me, but after the water slide challenge, Michelle wins, right? Mm-hmm. It does this close up on Sarah's face, and she had the most jealous look on her face. She was really jealous. It was this slight crooked smile that she always does, but
yeah,
maybe it was just me, but I felt like she was insanely jealous that Michelle won that.
Sarah has never won individual immunity.
Oh my God, that's probably why
and
she
Michelle
couldn't hide that
has
look.
won 5. So.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's insane.
And Michelle came back from behind. As soon as I remembered that this was the famous one where she kicked the puzzle over, I was like, oh yeah, she's gonna win again, because it doesn't matter how behind she is. She knows the puzzle.
Yeah, her knowing that puzzle already gave her a huge edge.
Mm-hmm. No edge. That word is gonna trigger me forever now.
Yeah. I think we got another comment from GB. With Michelle reaching the final tribal council, she joins Jenna Maraska and Colton Cumby and Mike Scoopin for playing multiple seasons without getting voted out.
Okay, well, Colton quit twice, so they don't belong in the same sentence together.
Yeah.
Michael Scoopin's name will no longer be mentioned. We don't say his name.
Well, he got injured. He was injured. That's why Jenna Maraska.
Oh, Jenna Maraska also, I mean, she quit for a good reason, but she quit. So the stat that I saw was with Amanda, she made it to tribal council the first 2 times she played. There's only a handful of people that did that. Amanda, Kimmel, and Russell went on to get voted out their 3rd time, but their first 2 times they made it to the end. And neither of them won. So Michelle's got...
Amanda voted out in Heroes Villains? Was that what she was a hero then?
Yeah.
Was she like early or mid-season?
No, she was one of the later heroes. She was at the jury. She was on the jury.
I need to rewatch that season. GB is cracking up at your response to that.
Well, Colton doesn't belong in the same sentence as Michelle.
I mean, he's technically right, but
no, he is.
But yeah, I mean, those people all got injured or their mom was sick or whatever.
Colton and Scoopin', that's like,
that's
Not to
motley.
compare Colton to Scoopin even, but like he's on a whole other level of garbage. But yeah.
Yeah, they're both lower tier.
Yeah. Maybe Colton's a better person now. I mean, he was very young, but Scoopin, no. Goodbye.
Right. I kind of liked this when Probst. I kind of like when Probst does this. Like when he brought up he admitted his biases over the years. Like that's been a topic of discussion in a lot of Survivor discussion, I guess. That Probst like seems to be biased towards the guys. He calls them by their last names and stuff. And oh my goodness, I'm knocking things over. My headphones almost fell off. I knocked my phone off the hook.
Okay. It's
I'm
fine.
gonna end up calling the CEO of the hospital on accident.
Don't do that.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I lost my train of thought.
Well, yeah, Probst admitted some biases for sure, and that was good to see. I don't know if we need to get into the whole Lucina, what she was trying to do. It was clearly a jury move. She was starting to feel worried about that Tony would beat her, and she knew. She had to know that he wasn't just going to beat her because he was a man. I would hope she knows that.
Yeah.
But she had to start working the jury, and she was laying the groundwork early, and that was smart.
But I do think it was seen right through.
I think there's probably quite a few people who saw right through it, but I do think...
Not that what she was saying was ingenuine, because I think she meant everything she said.
She made valid points. She's correct on a lot of that. But the funny thing is, I don't think it necessarily applies in this situation, because the man you're talking about is Tony. He could be, like we were saying, Tony is his own gender. Yeah.
Like,
that's what we were saying. Yeah,
he transcends gender. You don't call him a guy or a girl. He's a unicorn.
Something else. He's
a
some
unicorn.
Magical being.
Yeah.
But she had that in her arsenal, and she used it. And who knows, if she would have made it to the end with Tony, it would have been interesting to see how that paid off. But I don't know. We'll never know.
So, another season, I got another winner pick wrong, but
hey, she made it to the finale.
This is a popular spot for my winner picks. It's usually they make the finale and then they go out. They don't even get to fire making usually. It's usually 5 or 6 is when they go home. Mm-hmm. I think the exception to that would be the last couple seasons, but the most recent was Allison. I think Dr. Allison, she was in that exact spot.
That's the same spot.
Yeah.
Speaking of Denise, it's bullshit that she didn't get a single confessional. It was the finale. That's stupid. But
she didn't have one? I could have sworn she had.
No, she did not.
Okay.
Her exit interview, though, where she talked about why she voted for Tony, it was so refreshing. She's just like, well, Tony played the best game, hands down. Like, there was no hemming and hawing. Like, she didn't have to, like, try and justify. I guess she didn't really spend any time with Natalie other than the first 2 days, but I just loved how straight up her answer was. Yeah. Tony deserved it. He played the best game. The end. That's how it should be, Denise. Denise forever.
Indeed. Let's talk a little bit about the idol hunt, where Natalie finds another idol. You mentioned something that makes this scene particularly interesting.
Well, I just thought it was poetic that Tony and Ben were in cahoots, and they're like the king idol finders, and they were out there in the middle of the night, or Tony was, and neither of them found it. Natalie found it the next morning.
Right, yeah, it was interesting to watch them both, watch two players who like made idols kind of cornerstones of their games, and watch them both together sort of like dumbfounded, like, where's the idol? And then Natalie and Michelle have it, you know.
Yeah, I think there's a very interesting distinction to be made, though, between the way Ben used idols and the way Tony uses idols. Ben needed idols to actually play and survive, whereas Tony used them to wield incredible power over the tribe. Like, apparently he had a fake idol and he told people he had 2 idols the whole time. Like, that part of his game wasn't even shown. He also made a fake idol for Sarah, which is why at Final 5 nobody voted for her. So, like, this guy.
There was even more agency to his game.
Like, this guy uses idols without needing idols. Like, it's incredible. I've never even heard of it. Like, he never has needed an idol.
And he had enough going on in everything else he was doing that the show, Survivior, decided not to show idols and fake idols. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
That says a lot.
It says a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so we got the return of the spy nest in this finale. Were you expecting that?
No, but I liked seeing how they used it in tandem, like how it was definitely a cop. I think Dalton Ross called it entrapment or us because they caught Natalie's plan. Sarah set her up, and Tony listened, and they knew what was up.
And they had, I think they had shown this before. The two, Sarah knew about the nest, and they were using it together. But yeah, it was fun to see them use it again, and this time it like really worked. I mean, what did you think of Natalie's hiding spot? What, I forget, was that intentional? I think.
No. Let's
that was actually
for things that aren't Natalie's.
I think that was actually an accident.
Yes, of course that was an accident. When she was talking to Michelle, she was like, it actually kind of worked out.
Yeah, exactly. That's the moment, because in my mind, I'm like, did she like do that on purpose? Is there some reason for that? But then, when she's talking to Michelle, it's like, no, she definitely screwed up there. Like, why would you of all places, why would you put it there?
And for Sarah to just constantly be looking and see it, like, amazing.
Yeah, it's very strange, very strange. Tony sees it and he says, my eyes were like, bing! Which brought me back to, was it Carl? Is that his name?
Bing! Yeah. The nullifier.
Carl in the Great David Goliath season.
Oh, that was a good one.
Mm-hmm. And Tony says that was the worst experience of my life. Because the spy nest.
He was up there for a long time.
Yeah, I guess they talked for a long time, and he didn't have like a very good like footing in there, so he was like shaking and stuff.
That would have been terrible if Tony would have been medevaced at Final Five and he couldn't have won the game.
I know. Another thing I thought of was like, what about like the cameraman in that situation? Is the cameraman looking at them and then going like this to Tony? And is Natalie like, what do you keep looking at up there? Is there a bird up there or something?
I'm willing to bet they're cutting to other footage of him up there.
That's what I thought. Yeah. That's what you would hope they don't like do that. Like, hey, look up there. Exactly.
What the hell?
Let's see here. Michelle proves her greatness by, she knew exactly what was going on. Natalie had no clue. Yeah. Michelle's like, they're voting for me, you idiot. She's like, God damn it, Natalie.
I know what's going on. You think you do, but you don't.
Yeah, that was funny. Talk to me about your favorite person, Ben.
Listen, Ben's not even on my list tonight. You know what? Like, I've got other people I'm very frustrated with.
But specifically, I want to hear about his decision to give up. He said, "I'll give up my game for you. I'm letting you vote me out tonight so that you can win." Basically, walk us through that.
It didn't help her win, first of all.
Yeah.
So it was poorly thought out. And this was obvious. Like, the minute it happened, he was reading the jury. He realized he had no shot, and he was bowing out. And it frustrated me because you don't quit at the final five. I know he wasn't technically quitting. I wouldn't call it that. But man, to like bow out in a sense at the final five in an all-winter season, it didn't sit right with me. But he came across as a good guy trying to help out Sarah, and he really did love Sarah and Tony, and that much was apparent.
Yeah.
And I respect him for that. He wasn't my least favorite person last night.
Yeah, but to me, I think it was just like, it was one of those things where he saw an opportunity. Like, he was using it more as an opportunity. And I actually didn't think of this right away on my own. I think I heard Stephen and Rob talking about this, and I just tend to agree with them now that Ben kind of saw the writing on the wall. He's like, shit, these people don't like me.
Right.
I'm gonna
it took
get
him a while. But...
Like he's like, this isn't going well. I'm gonna get reamed at the final tribal. He's like, well, at least I can go out on a high note if I like. But I agree with you that I think the friendship with Sarah is absolutely genuine. So it's an opportunity. It's like the two, sort of like a win-win sort of situation. Like I can.
Out.
Yeah. He saw it out, exactly.
Yeah.
A win-win, where he didn't have to get humiliated at Final Tribal.
Yeah, and I can see why he wouldn't want that. Because we were even saying, I almost want to see him in the end, to see him get eviscerated, which was mean. But he knew that it would probably happen, so I think he was happy to be on the jury. He seemed content.
Do you have any thoughts on when Jeff asked them about what it's like to be under 39 days of intense personal scrutiny?
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, it was just a typical tribal discussion. Well, not typical, but you know, in recent seasons, the tribal discussions usually start or in the middle somewhere. They have some type of philosophical aspect to them as well. That was the feature here. But yeah, you mostly just felt bad.
I don't remember.
No, you mostly just felt bad for the players that they have to go through that stuff because it sounds terrible.
Yeah. It's true. I'm sure it's not easy.
I wrote down Tony's surprised. I'm not sure what that means.
Well, Sarah didn't tell him that she was going to vote Ben out.
That's right. Yeah.
It was like the one time, other than the Queen being slayed, that he didn't know what was going to happen. It's weird. I don't know how Sarah thought that was going to help her.
Yeah.
I mean,
because Ben thought so too. Ben's like this. Ben told her this is something for your resume, right?
But how is it her move though?
It's not. It's I don't get it either. That's why I thought the whole thing was just kind of dumb.
I mean, it ended up being moot because Sarah was the next one out due to a very close fire making challenge, but it wasn't a power move. It didn't come off that way. I don't know how the jury saw it, but no.
Yeah, and I know we don't love Ben, but I loved the way he went out here when he's like, "Hope y'all are ready to party."
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
And he gave Probst a hug.
And he gave Probst a hug.
Likes Ben. I mean,
yeah, I enjoyed that.
I've been an asshole to Ben all season, but it's disaster was avoided. He did not win. The end. I would have preferred him to win over Natalie. But there we go.
So yeah, pretty much covered everything here. I mean, there's not much to say. The fire making challenge was intense.
A work of art.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've been that antsy, like nervous in the good nervous where you're like where you tuck your knees into your chest on the couch. You're like,
looking at your heart rate.
Yeah,
I actually didn't look at it. I'm curious what it got.
I don't do that anymore. Yeah, it's paranoia.
Yeah, it was quite the experience, and it really, and the other, I don't mean to keep harping on Natalie, but I'm going to. So, when that happened, when they were having that emotional moment, you could just see how Michelle and Natalie's faces, like, oh shit.
They're like, we lost.
We have no chance.
Yeah, and there wasn't really much of a path for them. Even against Sarah, it was going to be tough, I think.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I would hope that Sarah would have won.
Cops or us had it locked.
I would say Michelle, it would be between Sarah and Michelle, but apparently Natalie had something over Michelle to 4 people.
It's silly.
Unbelievable.
So we got to talk about Sophie being sick. That was odd.
Oh, Sophie. Apparently she had the flu.
Yeah, that sucks.
I mean, it really does suck because she is such a good strategist, and it would have been really valuable to hear her talk. She didn't speak.
No.
At least that we saw. She didn't say anything. Like, I don't know if they had to carry her up there to get her to vote or what.
She looked pretty bad. Like, the camera actually avoided. That's one thing I was tracking that. That was like in the back of my mind while I was watching the whole thing. Like, Like, is Sophie okay? They're avoiding showing her face.
They don't show her.
They showed her one
group on the left.
They showed her one time, like, just her, and it was quick. And, you know, it's not like she looked, like, horrible, but, you know, she was really sick, you know. And I felt really bad for her. And like you said, would have been really nice to hear what she had to say about everything. But she couldn't even talk. In my mind, I was thinking they probably gave her a Xanax, some pain meds, like they gave her a bunch
anti-nausea.
Yeah, they gave her a bunch of drugs and said just sit there, and that's what she had to do. And it probably one of the worst moments of her life. I'm guessing. I'm projecting a lot here, but like I felt really bad. Felt really bad for her.
In her brain, she was able to have the wherewithal to vote for Tony.
Yeah, she's like Tony. Duh.
Yeah. Like, no brainer. Hello. Sorry, I just still am not over it. It's been a day, but that's not long enough for that to heal.
GB says she was shaking and wanting to get out of there. I didn't really notice if she was shaking.
A lot of them were shaking because it was raining and cold. But
yeah. I noticed that like multiple people were shaking. Wendell was shaking.
Yeah. So yeah, add that on top of sick, she had to sit there in the rain and she's like dying of the flu. That's terrible. It sucks for her journey to end that way, you know. If they do postseason interviews, I think hers will probably be one of the best ones because she doesn't hold back on stuff. And she's really, really smart.
Yeah.
And I'd like to hear the story about her illness.
Yeah. I have morbid curiosity.
Yeah.
I like when Yule got stage fright.
Oh. How do you fight with Yule?
And then Probst is like, he's like, you played like Survivor 2 times now? You have stage fright right now? And then he gives like this eloquent speech, and Probst is like, you had stage fright? Yeah, but that's how it goes. You can be nervous and still deliver a great performance. And then people are like, you weren't nervous. They're like, yeah, I was. I was nervous the whole time.
Not inside my brain.
Yeah, exactly. Wendell got the Michelle question, of course.
He did.
Yep.
Wendell was really fun on Ponderosa. The old Wendell comes out, and you're like, oh, this is why everyone loves this guy.
Yeah.
It was a bummer. He got done pretty dirty this season. I don't think it was necessary, but whatever. I've always liked Wendell.
Nick seemed like he was incredibly butthurt as well.
Because they put the freshest.
Yeah, they put him and Jeremy back to back, both kind of lashing out at Tony like, you screwed me, Tony. You're dead to me. They both were butthurt. I'm surprised Nick even voted.
So silly.
Yeah, Nick came off even worse than he did the whole season in this moment. This is not a good way to cap it for him.
No, yeah.
I really like Nick. I think Nick's cool. He just he got some bad TV here.
Yeah, he and Wendell, I think, both got a little bit hosed. That's the word I was looking for.
Okay, so I like when Tony's describing what he did to win the game, and of course he's just telling stories about what was fun to him, and then he's like, first I had my spy shack, then I had my spy bunker, and then Adam chimes in, he's like, spy nest? Like Adam knew
told him.
Oh yeah, that's probably why. But like, knowing
that would imply that they knew, though. I bet Sarah told them.
Yeah, it's possible. But knowing Adam as a super fan, in my mind, I was just like, Adam, just like that was what Adam dreamed of, was Tony would have a spy nest, you know.
Yeah, maybe no one did tell him. Maybe he just guessed that was the next level. Take it in the air, and he did. Got him another win.
I wrote down how much, and this could just be me, but I was like spacing out a lot when Michelle was talking. I found her tribal performance to be actually kind of bad. In the sense that her answers were very vague. Like, I feel like you want to be really specific. You want to tell a story like Tony did. Like, Tony would talk about specific moments and things he did. Michelle described her game in this like big picture sense, and it was like sort of boring, and I had a tough time paying attention to it. I imagine the jury was just like, nah.
Maybe. I mean, I thought she had a pretty good performance. I thought it was better than Natalie's. Natalie just listed all the fire tokens she got.
Well, that's a low bar, okay?
Yeah, no, you're right. But I saw something interesting on Reddit today that was talking about how Natalie's story and Michelle's story seemed complete, whereas Tony's would be completed by winning. I'm not sure if I said that right, but like they were speaking as if they'd already accomplished something by getting there, whereas Tony obviously played the best game, but like his journey had to be completed by getting the victory. Like that was the end of his journey. I don't know. It's on Reddit, but I thought it was interesting.
I think that's a really good point. And then on top of that, he said he was the only one to say something like, "This is the Super Bowl of winter seasons, and I think you guys should do the right thing and give this season a winner that deserves to be the carrier of that torch." He like basically said that in so many words. And if that didn't resonate with, it should have resonated with everyone there. Everyone should have been like, Tony is the guy to rep this season. He should get it.
That's what I would like to ask Ethan, Parvati. Like, did you think you were casting a vote for her to win? Did you want her to your vote to count towards her victory? Or was that just a vote for a friend and you knew Tony would still be the representative of this season? Because if Natalie was the representative of this season, I mean, on her own as a person, that's not what this is about. She represents someone who got voted out on day one.
Yeah.
Do you want that person to be the representative of your season?
Right.
Like, how can they cast a vote for her knowing it could lead to that outcome?
Right. 100%. 100%
I'll never
agree.
get over it.
So yeah, happy ending. That's
extremely happy ending. I hate that it was so subdued with the Zoom. I'm so tired of Zoom. I hate Zoom. And it's so weird that that's how this ended. But I mean,
get used to it, buddy.
Tony doesn't care. He's in his mansion with his family that he loves so much with $3 million. Like, he doesn't care how much fanfare he gets. I watched one of his exit interviews, I think with Gordon Holmes, and he hates the edge of extinction. So it was fun to I felt like validated for Tony being like, Michelle should have gotten all those votes. Natalie had no business getting votes. Like, she didn't play the game. This was not the game. And he was talking about the fire tokens and how they had no idea what was being done with fire tokens. He said he wouldn't have given them the extortion money if he had known what it was going towards. So that's just another strike against it. Like, the people playing the actual game have no idea, and it's not fair.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it must have been really hard for Tony to, that was like one of Gavin's biggest mistakes, was that he basically told the jury who had all been on the edge that the edge was meaningless, and that was like insulting to them personally. So I don't think Tony really ever said anything like that. Maybe he learned. No. Maybe he learned from Gavin's mistake. Maybe we owe Gavin a thank you for helping Tony win. Or he's
just intelligent, and he was like, I'm not going to insult these people. He spent the whole season like trying to like not insult anyone and talk down to them. So.
But that's so meta. Like, if I was in Gavin's shoes, I don't know if I would think of that either. I'd be like, I need to prove to these guys that I deserve to win, so I should tell them that, the edge of extinction sucks, and that's why I deserve to win. I don't know if I would think of that, like, oh yeah, all these people are on the edge, they might not like hearing that. I'd like to think I would think of that.
Do you ever okay, so you have like a big presentation or something come up and you practice it like by yourself, and when you say something and then you think about it, you think about how it'll be responded to, like that. These people should practice their speeches. I know they do.
Yeah.
Like, if that doesn't cross your mind, like, oh, I can't insult the edge of extinction when the majority of these people spent a long, long time there.
Yeah, know your audience. It's like one of the first things they teach you in speech. It's like in the first chapter.
It is. So I'm sure Tony was aware.
All right, so GB giving us a comment here. It's been a pleasure, guys. And now that Survivor is over, I'll be watching Big Brother Australia. I'll see you both someday.
Big Brother Australia. I heard they're not doing live feeds for that, which is interesting. That Big Brother can happen without live feeds.
They don't need those. GB, thanks for being a loyal fan and for offering some feedback during the season. It's made the podcast interesting.
Fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And special thanks to both GB and Cullen for watching and participating. It's like you're part of the podcast. It's awesome.
It's been fun to be back talking about All Winners Survivor.
For
Tony
sure.
Vlachos, 2-time winner.
For sure. Woo. So let's wrap this up. What's the future of Survivor look like?
I don't know. I'm confused.
We already talked about this a little bit, but we'll kind of just go over it one more time. Those thoughts.
Jeff said they're committed to being on in the fall, and I don't know how that's going to happen. I think he's lying. But it'll be back someday. I have no doubt about that. Like, this wasn't the series finale. But if it does come back and the edge is there, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I won't care as much, I guess, if it's newbies, because who cares about newbies when you've had a season like this? They have to earn they have to earn it.
Yeah.
Like Island of the Idols people did not earn it. Except maybe DK chillin'. But other than that,
you never see him. You never see him coming. It's always the ones you're like, I'm gonna hate that guy, and you're like, oh, that guy's my favorite.
I am confident it'll be back. I'm dubious about what he said last night. I don't think it'll be back because they were going to show The Amazing Race in the summer, and they suddenly decided not to. And my thought is they're going to show it in the fall when Survivor is supposed to be on. But maybe I'm wrong.
Okay. So this is where I'm at. We just had an all-winners season, which that's a miracle. Tony won the all-winners season.
Double miracle.
I mean, it's like that's the topper. You can't top that. So why even try? So like to me, I'm on the fence. I'm debating of hanging it up for Survivor. I'm debating not watching.
But it's like a sport. Like, if the Viking season is on, you know what you're gonna get, and it's gonna be heartache. Like, if it's on, why would you just not watch? Just because they had that one really great season, we're not gonna get the Minneapolis Miracle again, probably ever, and yet we still watch. And Survivor is usually a better show. Yeah.
We'll have to see. I might change my mind, and if they do something completely different in a good way, like if they shake it up a little bit, that would make me more inclined to watch again. But I don't know.
Let's make it a reality.
We'll have to see. But I am sincerely toying with the idea of at least taking a break from the show.
That's fair.
It's been on for 20 years, 40 seasons. But yeah, you make a good argument that you could look at it as more like a sport. I mean, most people aren't like, oh, the sports have been on for 200 years. Like,
why would I keep watching?
Why would I? I'm done. I'm over. Yeah. It's the same every year. And some people probably do that, but
we say that every football season, and then we go back every fall.
I'm done with the Vikings. I'm definitely done with the Vikings this year, man. Like, there's no way in hell they're winning this season.
They have never won any season, so what would they?
Right. I mean, this one's. I've never had less faith. Almost. It's like you got. First of all, you got Patrick Mahomes, and the Chiefs still exist. So how are you ever going to beat them? And then
they have about as much chance as Tony Vlachos at being a 2-time winner of Survivor.
Yeah, so miracles do happen. We must remember this. Okay, so that's what we know about the future of Survivor and my future with Survivor.
But the future of Survivor itself is very much up in the air, so we just don't know.
So I might not even have to make that choice. It might just be made for us. So yeah, what about the future of the channel, Catie? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, you and I have talked about doing some fun things this summer. Some movie stuff.
Yeah.
Not new movies because there are none. But old movies that we grew up with. But we haven't done that yet. But that's what we're talking about, right? You're on board for that?
Yeah, that's. I'm interested in that. I do enjoy having something to talk to you about, and it's fun to do this little podcast. It's like this reminds me of stuff we kind of when we used to play together when we were little kids. You know, like it's like we get to carry that into our adult lives, and how many people get to do that. You know, so that's kind of cool. That we
had a radio show.
It's kind of cool that we have this to do, and I'd like to find a way to keep that going in a way that we both still really enjoy, something that feels like, you know, we're like, damn, yeah, I really want to, that sounds fun, let's do that, you know. And not that talking about Survivor isn't fun, but, you know,
something with a little less frustration in it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
GB says, that's exciting. I was born in 1997 and I just turned 23 and I want to listen to older people. Can't wait to listen. Yeah, we're older than you.
Yeah,
definitely older than you. But yeah, because our history with movies is going to be, there's about a little more than a 10-year gap there between you and us. So yeah, you would be listening to us talk about some stuff that you probably never saw or grew up with. So yeah.
I'm excited. There's
kind of what we're
movies.
looking at.
Everybody's revisiting stuff right now. Like even CBS and AV, like Wonderful World of Disney's coming back. CBS has their Sunday night movies. Like there's just a hunger for nostalgia and returning to some semblance of better times right now. So I think that's maybe what we might do. Right
on. All right. Well, I think that does it for this episode of the podcast. That does it for this season of Survivor.
Also, I just want to say TV is our real mom stands for Tony Vlachos is our real mom.
Yeah, dude, I never thought of that. Holy shit. We could tell people that. We could really tell people that. Like, that's what it really means. And
he has no gender.
Yeah, and I'm down with that. I like that. Yeah, so thanks GB, thanks Colin, thanks anyone else who subscribes and listens. And we'll try to put something out in the near future. Thanks for a great season.
Congrats, Tony.
Congrats, TV. Follow us on Twitter. Comment.
Don't do much.
Thumbs up, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.